The cold smell of disinfectant lingered in the hospital hallway as I sat by my daughter's bedside. Machines beeped steadily, reminding me that her fragile heartbeat was still fighting. Her skin was pale, her breathing shallow, and I could feel her slipping away from me with every passing second. As a mother, there is no pain greater than watching your child suffer while you are helpless to save them. My daughter, Emily, only 27, had always been full of life, laughing, dreaming, and planning her future. But fate had dealt her an unfair hand. A sudden infection had spread through her body, and now she was fighting for her life. What made the pain unbearable was not just Emily's condition, but her husband's absence. Daniel, the man who had promised to love and cherish her, was not here by her side. Instead, just an hour earlier, I had seen pictures on social media. Daniel surrounded by friends, raising a glass of champagne, a cake lit with candles in front of him. He was celebrating his birthday while his wife lay dying. Tears burned my eyes as I held Emily's frail hand. "Sweetheart, I'm here. You're not alone," I whispered, stroking her hair gently. "I won't leave you." Emily's lips trembled as she tried to speak. Her voice was barely audible, but I leaned in close. "Mom, where's Daniel?" she asked, her eyes searching the room. My heart twisted. How could I tell her the truth? That her husband had chosen his own joy over her pain? That while she was slipping into the arms of death, he was surrounded by music and laughter? He'll be here soon, darling," I lied softly, forcing a smile I didn't feel. Her eyes closed again, weak but trusting, and my chest tightened with guilt. I wanted to scream. I wanted to march into that party, drag Daniel by the collar, and force him to face the reality he was running from. But I couldn't leave Emily, not even for a second. She needed me more than ever. The clock ticked, and every second felt like a lifetime. Then suddenly, Emily's monitor began to beep erratically. Nurses rushed in, their faces tense, calling for the doctor. My legs shook, but I clung to her hand, refusing to let go. "Stay with me, Emily. Please, baby. Fight," I cried. And at that very moment, just an hour after Daniel's birthday candles had been blown out, the most life-changing call of my life came in. To be continued. The shrill sound of my phone vibrating in my purse cut through the chaos in the hospital room. Nurses were rushing around, a doctor barking urgent instructions, and the heart monitor was beeping wildly. With trembling hands, I fumbled to answer the call. "Mrs. Thompson?" a man's voice said on the other end. "This is Officer Reynolds with the City Police Department. Are you related to Daniel Thompson?" My heart froze. "Yes, he's my daughter's husband," I replied cautiously. There was a pause, then the officer's voice dropped lower. "Ma'am, I regret to inform you that Daniel was involved in an incident tonight. After leaving a birthday party, he was pulled over for reckless driving. He's currently in custody for driving under the influence." For a moment I couldn't breathe. My daughter was lying on her deathbed, clinging to the last threads of life, and her husband was not only absent but drunk and behind bars. The doctor's voice pulled me back to reality. "We're losing her pulse! Prepare for resuscitation!" I dropped the phone, my knees buckling as I clung to the rail of the hospital bed. "Emily, don't leave me! You're stronger than this, sweetheart! Fight!" I begged, tears streaming down my face. The nurses began chest compressions while the doctor administered medication. My world spun, fear clawing at my chest. The room was filled with panic, but all I could see was Emily's fragile face, her lips turning pale. "Clear!" the doctor shouted, pressing the defibrillator to her chest. Her body jolted violently, and for a moment the monitor went flat. I thought my soul had left me right there. But then, beep, beep, beep. The monitor picked up again, weak but steady. She was still here. My baby girl was still fighting. I sobbed in relief, clutching her hand again. "That's it, Emily. Don't give up. Mommy's here." But inside me, a storm raged. Daniel had abandoned her when she needed him the most, and now he was sitting in a cold jail cell, paying the price for his selfishness. As Emily's chest rose and fell faintly, I made a silent vow to myself. If she survives this night, I will never allow her to return to that man. She deserves love, loyalty, and someone who would walk through fire for her, not a coward who celebrates while she bleeds. But little did I know, the night was far from over, and what was about to happen in the next hour would change not just Emily's life, but mine too. To be continued. The hospital corridor felt endless that night. Every sound, the squeak of shoes, the buzz of fluorescent lights, echoed louder than ever. Emily had stabilized for now, but the doctors warned me she isn't out of danger yet. The next few hours are critical. I sat beside her, my hand resting gently on hers, when I heard footsteps rushing down the hallway. I turned, expecting maybe Daniel, though deep down I knew he couldn't come. He was behind bars. Instead, it was a young woman I had never seen before. Her eyes were swollen from crying, and she clutched a purse tightly against her chest. When she spotted Emily's room, she froze. "Are you her mother?" the girl asked softly, her voice trembling. "Yes," I said cautiously. "And who are you?" She hesitated, her lips trembling before she finally whispered, "My name is Claire. I'm Daniel's girlfriend." The words struck me like a thunderbolt. I blinked in disbelief. "Girlfriend? What are you talking about? He's married to my daughter." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "I didn't know he was married at first. He told me he was separated, that his wife was sick, and it was only a matter of time. He said he didn't want to be alone. But tonight, when he was arrested, I realized everything. I found out she's still his wife. I couldn't stay silent anymore. I had to come." My chest burned with fury. My daughter was lying in this bed, fighting for every breath, while her husband had been living a double life, celebrating his birthday not just with friends, but with another woman. I clenched my fists, anger rising inside me. But before I could respond, Emily stirred weakly, her lips parting. Her voice was faint, but clear enough. "Mom, who's here?" she asked, her eyelids fluttering open slightly. I swallowed hard, glancing between Emily and Claire. How could I tell her the truth in this fragile state? Would the shock destroy what little strength she had left? Claire stepped closer, guilt written all over her face. "Emily, I am so sorry. I didn't know. I never wanted to hurt you, but you deserve to know the truth." Emily's eyes opened wider now, her gaze shifting to me for confirmation. My heart broke as I nodded silently. Her lips trembled, and tears welled in her eyes. A weak sob escaped her. He betrayed me?" I held her close, whispering through my own tears. "Yes, sweetheart, but you're not alone. I'm here, and I promise you'll never face this pain by yourself again." The room fell silent, except for the sound of the monitor beeping steadily. Claire lowered her head in shame and quietly left, leaving Emily and me in the dim glow of the machines. As I wiped away my daughter's tears, I made another vow in my heart. Daniel will never get the chance to break her again. One way or another, I will make sure of it. But what I didn't know was that Daniel himself was about to walk through those hospital doors before the night was over. To be continued. The clock on the wall ticked past midnight. The air inside Emily's hospital room was heavy, thick with sorrow, betrayal, and unanswered questions. She had drifted back into a fragile sleep after crying herself weak, while I sat by her side, my heart boiling with rage and helplessness. That's when I heard it. Footsteps again, heavy, uneven, almost dragging. I turned my head sharply, and my breath caught in my throat. Daniel. His hair was messy, his shirt wrinkled, and the smell of alcohol clung to him like a curse. 2 police officers flanked him, one on each side, their hands gripping his arms firmly. "Mrs. Thompson?" one of the officers said politely. "Since your daughter is critically ill, we agreed to let Mr. Thompson see her for a brief moment before we take him back into custody." I wanted to scream, to tell them to drag him out and never let him near my daughter again. But Emily stirred at the sound of his voice. "Daniel?" she whispered weakly, her eyelids fluttering open. He stepped forward, trying to steady himself. His eyes were red, either from alcohol or guilt, or maybe both. "Emily? Baby? I'm here," he slurred slightly. I stood in front of him like a shield. "No, you don't get to come near her after what you've done." My voice trembled, but it carried every ounce of fury in my soul. Daniel's eyes narrowed. "She's my wife. I have every right." "Every right?" I snapped, my voice rising. "Where were you when she begged for your hand? Where were you when she thought she was dying? You were out celebrating with another woman, living your lie while she fought for her life. That's not love, Daniel. That's betrayal." Emily's weak voice cut through the tension. "Is it true, Daniel?" For a moment, he froze. His lips parted, but no words came. And in that silence, his guilt was louder than anything he could ever say. Tears streamed down Emily's face. How could you?" Her chest rose and fell rapidly, the monitor beeping faster. "Stop!" I cried, rushing to calm her. "You're upsetting her." The officer stepped forward, one of them gripping Daniel's arm tighter. "That's enough. We need to take him back now." Daniel resisted for a second. Then his shoulders slumped in defeat. "Emily, I never meant to hurt you," he muttered, his voice barely audible, but his words were empty, like ashes in the wind. As the officers dragged him out of the room, Emily turned her face toward me, tears glistening in her eyes. "Mom, promise me, I'll never have to see him again." I held her close, kissing her damp forehead. "I promise, sweetheart. From now on, I will protect you from him. You deserve better. You deserve peace." And in that moment, as the sound of Daniel's footsteps faded down the hall, I realized this night wasn't just about my daughter's fight for life. It was about her fight for freedom. But the truth was, Emily's battle wasn't over yet, and neither was mine. To be continued. The night dragged on like a storm that refused to end. Emily was exhausted, drifting in and out of sleep, her fragile breaths echoing in the quiet hospital room. I sat close, clutching her hand, whispering prayers under my breath. But I knew deep down this wasn't just about medicine or doctors. My daughter's survival depended on her will to fight. And after learning the truth about Daniel, I feared she might lose that will. At dawn, the doctor came in, his face grave. She made it through the night, but her body is still dangerously weak. We need to prepare for the possibility that she might not recover. I suggest you call family, just in case. The words hit me like a knife, but before I could reply, Emily stirred, her soft voice breaking the silence. "Mom?" I leaned in quickly. "Yes, baby, I'm here." Her eyes glistened with pain. I don't want to fight anymore. What's the point? The man I loved is gone. He lied. He cheated. I have nothing left. My heart shattered hearing her say that. I shook my head fiercely, tears spilling down my cheeks. "No, Emily, you still have me. You still have your life, your dreams, your future. Don't let a coward like Daniel steal that from you. Don't let his betrayal define you." She closed her eyes, and for a terrifying moment, I thought she had given up. But then, she whispered something I never expected. "Then promise me, if I live, I'll never go back to him. Promise me you'll help me start over." I clutched her hand tightly. "I promise, Emily, with everything I have, I promise. He will never hurt you again." Just as I said those words, the door opened. To my shock, Daniel's lawyer walked in, holding a folder. Behind him, escorted by officers once again, was Daniel. His face looked desperate, almost wild. "Emily," he said hoarsely, "please, listen to me. Don't sign anything against me. Don't leave me. I can change, I swear." The lawyer stepped forward, placing documents on the table. "He wants to make amends. If you sign here, Emily, it clears his name of certain charges. He says it's for the sake of your marriage." I almost laughed bitterly through my tears. "Marriage? You dare talk about marriage when you broke every vow you ever made?" I turned to the lawyer, my voice sharp. "Get out, both of you." But Daniel wasn't done. He dropped to his knees, his voice cracking. "Emily, I need you. Please don't give up on me." Emily's weak gaze shifted to him, her lips trembling. For a long, tense silence, I feared she might forgive him in her vulnerable state. But then, with what little strength she had left, she whispered, "No, Daniel, I'm done." The officers pulled him back as he shouted her name, his voice echoing down the hallway. Emily's tears spilled, but there was a quiet strength in her expression now. And for the first time in a long time, I saw a spark of hope in her eyes. To be continued. The door slammed shut behind Daniel and his lawyer, leaving behind an eerie silence. Emily's fragile body sank deeper into the hospital bed, but there was something different in her eyes now. She was no longer broken. She was determined. "Mom," she whispered, her voice still weak but steady. "I don't ever want him near me again. I want to start over. I want a life where I don't have to cry myself to sleep, wondering if I'm not enough." Tears welled in my eyes, but this time they weren't from despair. They were from pride. "You are enough, Emily. You always have been, and I'll be with you every step of the way. We'll rebuild your life together, brick by brick." The nurse came in, checking her vitals, and for the first time in days, the numbers looked a little better. Her blood pressure was stabilizing, her heart rate calming. The doctor entered shortly after, smiling faintly. "She's improving, slowly, but she's responding to treatment.
This is a good sign. I squeezed Emily's hand and whispered, "See? Your body is fighting because your heart finally let go of what was breaking it." But peace never lasted long. Later that evening, as the sun set and the hospital hallways grew quiet, I received a call from the police department. "Mrs. Thompson, we've had to release Daniel on bail. He's unstable, and we recommend you take precautions. We're trying to locate him now, but he may attempt to come back." My blood ran cold. I turned to see Emily asleep, her chest rising and falling gently. For the first time, she looked at peace, but danger was still lurking outside these walls. I stayed by her side all night, refusing to close my eyes. Every creak of the hospital floor, every sound in the hallway made me tense. I wasn't just her mother anymore, I was her guardian. And just when I thought the night would pass quietly, I heard a familiar voice in the hallway. Angry, slurred, determined. "Daniel." "Let me in. She's my wife," he shouted, his voice carrying through the sterile hospital air. The nurses panicked, calling for security, but my heart was already racing. He wasn't going to give up. Not yet. I stood, planting myself firmly in front of Emily's bed, my fists clenched. If Daniel dared to step through that door, he would have to go through me first. Because this wasn't just about Emily's fight for life anymore. It was a battle for her freedom, her dignity, her future. And I was ready to fight it for her. The hospital hallway erupted into chaos. Daniel's voice echoed, furious and desperate. "She's my wife. You can't keep me away from her." Security rushed forward, blocking the doorway to Emily's room. But he was strong in his madness, shoving and thrashing, fueled by liquor and rage. The nurses screamed, trying to push him back. I stood inside the room, my body trembling, but I refused to move away from Emily's bed. She was still asleep, unaware of the storm raging just outside her door. When Daniel's eyes met mine through the small glass window, I saw the truth. Not love, not regret, but obsession. He didn't want Emily because he cared. He wanted her because he couldn't stand losing control. The door burst open, and he stumbled in before the guards could restrain him. His face was red, his breath reeking of alcohol. "Emily," he bellowed, "I'm not letting you go. You're mine." "Get out," I screamed, stepping in front of my daughter like a shield. "You lost her the moment you chose yourself over her life. You don't deserve even to say her name." He lunged forward, but before he could reach me, 2 officers stormed in, pinning his arms behind his back. He struggled, cursing, screaming Emily's name. She stirred awake, her eyes fluttering open, confusion in her weak gaze. "Mom? What's happening?" she whispered faintly. I turned quickly, taking her hand in mine. "It's okay, sweetheart. You're safe. He's gone. He'll never hurt you again." She looked past me at Daniel being dragged away, his shouts echoing down the hallway. And then something incredible happened. Emily exhaled, long and deep, as if releasing years of pain in that single breath. Tears slid down her cheeks, but her lips curved into the faintest smile. "Then maybe I can finally live," she whispered. I kissed her forehead, my tears mingling with hers. "Yes, Emily, from this day forward, you will live, and you'll never look back." 3 months later, the leaves outside the window were turning golden, and Emily was walking again, her strength returning with every step.
We moved into a small apartment together, a place filled with sunlight and warmth, not shadows and lies. Daniel was sentenced to time in prison for his reckless behavior and his assault at the hospital. He was no longer a ghost haunting her life. He was just a memory, locked away where he belonged. Emily began attending therapy, rebuilding her spirit as much as her body. And slowly, I watched my daughter bloom again. She laughed. She dreamed. She painted the walls of her new home with colors so bright they seemed to chase away every trace of darkness. One evening, as we sat together on the balcony watching the sunset, Emily turned to me. "Mom, you saved me. Not just my life, but my soul. Thank you for not letting me give up." I squeezed her hand, smiling through tears. "No, sweetheart, you saved yourself. You chose life. You chose freedom. I only stood by your side." And as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with fire and gold, I knew one thing for certain. Daniel had stolen years of her happiness, but he would never steal her future. My daughter was free, and that was the greatest gift of all.